So it's been about 9 months since we had the dirt refresh here on the iRacing platform, and since we've gotten that refresh, I have done a ton of testing, setup building, driving technique testing, tracks, you name it. I've tried it, tested it, and tried it again. And in this video, which is actually part one of a multi-part video series I'm going to be doing, we're going to be covering a ton of stuff with the wing sprint cars, how to set them up, what you want to do in terms of tacky tracks, slick tracks, when to make adjustments, why to make adjustments, all of that, and a whole lot more. So get ready for an in-depth, deep dive into the winged sprint cars on iRacing. Next. What's up, everybody? Thomas Brennan here. Thank you very much, as always, for joining me. And like I said, we're going to be taking a in-depth, deep dive into the wing sprint cars. Now, first of all, I mentioned it. This is going to be a multi-part video series, I guess you would call it. Just because there's so much to cover, I don't want to have like one or two, hour-long videos. It's just too much, okay? And so what I wanted to do was I wanted to break this up into a couple of parts. So that way, for those of you who, reference these videos, because I get that a lot where people say, hey, man, I go back and I watch this to see what you talked about or learn and stuff like that. So this video, what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you guys a couple of things. Number one, we're going to kind of just get the exploit stuff off the table, okay? I don't know of any exploits right now with the wing sprint cars. I don't know of any exploits on dirt, okay? There might be some things in terms of like, hey, this adjustment seems to work better than this one. But in terms of like what we used to do, like a wonky setup or what they used to call the Simmelman setup, those types of things, that stuff, it doesn't do anything, okay? You can run them, but it's not like it was where it's like, hey, man, this is half a second faster or whatever it was, right? So we're going to get that crap out of the way. I'm going to show you in this video how you can take the iRacing setup, okay, what they run for the fixed setups and then what they've got for all the tricks, but how you can take that setup, do a couple of really simple adjustments to it, and these adjustments are almost universal, meaning you can do this at just about every single track you go to. With their 360 and 410 setups. Keep in mind, we're going to be doing the 360s in this, but the same rule applies on the 410s, okay? And you will be instantly faster, okay? Instantly faster, all right? Because there's just a couple of things with the setups that iRacing gives you that they're kind of off on. So I'll show you that in this video, all right? So let's head over to the track and get started. The first thing that you need to understand, the key to being fast in these cars is keeping the car straight, being smooth and consistent, and not spinning the tires. It's the same principle that you use in real life, okay? Like that's what it is. If you watch real life drivers, I talk about this all the time when it comes to the sprint cars. You watch real life sprint car drivers, the same thing. The fastest ones, they're smooth, consistent, the car is straight, they're not spinning the tires, right? It really is that simple. And then their setup is allowing them to get the most out of the car. And sometimes the car is a top 5 car, sometimes it's a winning car, sometimes it's a top 15 car. And that's going to be the same thing with you when it comes to these open setup races. Is that there's going to be times you're going to make adjustments, especially with these cars now, because they're a lot more temperamental. And what I mean by that is, it used to be, if I wanted to like add some weight to the right rear, I could stiffen the right rear bar and add a turn to the right rear, and I might feel the difference, right? Yeah, I'll feel the difference, but it's going to be minimal. Now, a half a turn into the bar stop on these things is a legitimate adjustment. Like, it can make a legitimate difference. Changing the shock, right? Changing your left front shock from a 4 on the bump and a 5 on the rebound to a 4 on the bump and a 4 on the rebound makes a difference, okay? That makes a noticeable difference in the car. So that's the most important thing that you need to understand is that adjustments now, it's not like it used to be where we'd make these really big adjustments, and that was what we had to do because you would make a big adjustment for what was essentially a small change in the way the car would feel. Now, it's small changes, all right? Small changes, small adjustments. If you got the car feeling good when you're in qualifying, you're not going to need to change much. Now, there's going to be times where you're going to get there and the track might be bumpy, or it might start off with some pre-gen slick or something like that, where iRacing decided, hey, let's start the track off at 60% in an official, which they've done before, and it sucks when it happens. But I digress. Where you might have to be like, damn, I got to do a ton of stuff on this car to get this thing to work right. And that's going to happen. But for the most part, you'll be able to make some pretty small changes to the car, drastically improve the speed. And when I'm talking about that, I'm talking about the iRacing setup here, and be comfortable. Okay. So first of all, let's do this. Let's load up this iRacing setup. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to take the qualifying setup. I am going to make a couple of changes to it, okay? And this is strictly for my own comfort. I'm going to get rid of this steering offset because I hate that, okay? I don't like the offset. Everything else we're going to leave the same, except I'm going to put 5 gallons of fuel in it, or actually 6 gallons of fuel, just because that's closer to like heat race fuel, okay? And then we're going to leave everything else alone. And we're going to go out here. I'm going to turn off the lap times because I don't care about lap times right now. We're also going to turn on telemetry. We'll take a look at the telemetry on this too. So, let's go out here. We're going to turn just a couple of laps here. And we're going to run the same line. I'm just going to basically run right through the middle. Just kind of follow the marbles here. Car got a little loose there with very little wheel input. I'm not using any brake right now. I'm just wide open with the throttle. And let's do one more lap here. That corner was a little bit better that time. So a couple of things are happening with this car. All right. The biggest glaring issue with this car right now is we are literally smacking off the chip, right? Banging the limiter, I don't know, 3/4 of a lap. I mean, it's almost on the limiter the entire time around, it seems like. It's just screaming. iRacing, their setups, okay, are not bad, okay? For me, they're not great, but they're also not bad. It doesn't take much to really improve them, okay? So first things first, what we're going to do is I'm going to make 2 adjustments right off the get-go here. The first adjustment is the nose wing angle. 30 nose wing for me is too much if I don't have a lot of top wing. So one thing that you're going to notice, and we're going to get into this more in the other videos when we really dive into this stuff, but just a quick aside to it, the nose wing does matter, okay? It is a legitimate adjustment. Most of the time in real life, we would pretty much just kind of set it with the down tubes, which is usually around 28 to 30 degrees, and we would basically forget. We would not mess with it too much. There are rare instances where we would adjust, but for the most part, you don't really mess with it that much. In the sim, the nose wing will definitely help with the top wing. So, for example, if I'm running like 30 degrees on my top wing, I'm going to actually add some nose wing because I want the downforce to be pressed, for the whole car. If I've got the top wing at 30 and I'm just sucking the car down, you might find that the car is actually like really aero tight, like it's not wanting to turn, okay? So the nose wing will actually help balance that out. For me, I usually start somewhere 24 or 26, okay? That's where I usually start. We're going to leave the top wing alone right now at 24, all right? And then what we're going to do is we're going to improve this gear ratio. Typically, on the 360s, you can usually do, I would say, probably 3 to 4 gear ratios taller. And keep in mind, remember how the numbers work for those of you who don't know. Taller, okay? When we talk about taller, we're talking about a lower number. When we talk about shorter, we talk about a higher number. The easiest way to remember this is this. The lower the number, the lower the RPMs. The higher the number, the higher the RPMs. Just think of it like that. So if you need to be having higher RPMs at the end of the straightaway, you want a higher number. You want to be having less RPMs at the end of the straightaway. You want a lower number. Now this gear ratio was a 560. What we're going to do is we're just going to go from a 560. Like I said, usually it's going to be about 3 or 4. So we'll go 4 to a 534. Okay. That's all we're going to do. We're not going to change anything else. All right. And let's go back out here and do the same exact thing. Notice how much better the car went through that corner. We're also not banging off the limiter. The nose of the car doesn't feel pinned like it did before. And although I'm not really tracking my lap time right now, if you just saw the last 2 laps were our fastest laps in the session. Okay, so that was much better. All we did was 2 adjustments. Nose wing, gear ratio. That was it. And running the exact same line that we ran before, we took 1/10 of a second off our lap time. On average. We did 3 laps. That's 3/10 of a second. Okay. So right there, simple adjustments, and we're much faster. Okay. Now, there are a couple of other little things that we can do here. So, first of all, the top wing angle. When we're at the bigger tracks, especially with the 360s, you can run less top wing angle. One thing I will tell you, though, is that your gear ratio and your top wing angle are one of those things that it's a balance, okay? There's times when I'm doing the insider setups, when we get to the feature, for example, I'll have an increased wing angle, and then I'll actually run a shorter gear than what we had for qualifying in the heat race. So for example, if we're at a track like Eldora, right? In qualifying, we might be running a 5:28 gear ratio, and the top wing is at 20, right? Heat race, same gear ratio, same top wing. And then we get to the feature, we might be running, depending on how slick the track is, we might have 24 or 26 degrees of top wing angle. And instead of running a 528, I might go to a 534, because that wing angle is going to bog the car down a little bit, especially considering when the track slicks off, you're not just holding it wide open. You need to be able to roll on and off that throttle and have that acceleration, right? So it is a balancing act. If we go to 20 wing here, this could be faster. One thing that you're going to notice, though, with these cars now, is that it's not like it used to be, where it was pretty much at all times, hey man, keep the wing flat and forward, right? That's not the case anymore. Your rear grip matters, and if you decrease the wing angle too much, you might find that you lose a little bit of rear grip, and that will slow you down. Now here you can see that we're still pretty good. You'll notice that we are carrying more, we are getting higher in the RPMs. You heard us bouncing off the chip there, the limiter at the very end. The car is not as glued to the track as it was, but that's to be expected. We took 4 degrees of wing angle out of the car. Let's do one more lap here. So you saw we did our fastest lap there 1 lap ago, and that was with 20 wing. Now let's just take a look here at the lap times and see real quick. So we did a 13.0. Now we weren't as consistent. Here we did 1.5, 1.5, 1.5. Here we did a 1.8, 2.3, 0.9, 1.2. Does that mean that 20 wing is what we want? Well, it could be. And this is the thing that I always talk about. You're going to get sick of hearing me say this in these videos. Whatever you're comfortable with, okay? You want to have that wing at 20, then do a couple of adjustments to get it a little bit more hooked up so that you're more consistent. All right, it's that simple. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put it at 22. I'm going to split the difference, and then we're just going to call it good. Okay. So overall, what have we changed? We put the nose wing from 30 to 24. All right. We took the top wing from 24 to 22, and then we changed the gear ratio. That's it. And with those few tweaks, we were able to take our car from running 13.2s to a 13.0, basically almost a 13.1, a 13.096, and 13.1s consistently. So we were able to take a tenth of a second off our lap time like that with a couple of simple adjustments. All right, you guys. So remember, to recap, we took the iRacing setup, we decreased the nose wing, we decreased the top wing just a couple of degrees, and we went to a taller gear ratio. We went from, like, I think it was a 560 to a 534. Okay. And that is, and I also took out the steering offset, but that was for me personally. And that is literally something that you can do to every one of those setups and be faster. Now, on the 410 side of things, what you're going to do is pretty much all of the big tracks, when it comes to the gear ratio, you're just going to run a 486. You're going to run a 486 at basically all the tracks. The smaller tracks, when it's tacky, you'll run anywhere from like a 528 to maybe a 509, and then if it gets really slicked off, you're going to be running a 486. You basically run a 486 all the freaking time in the 410s. But the 360s, a lot more difference in the gear ratios. But on the 410 though, the adjustments are basically the same thing. Take some nose wing out of it. The top wing, actually, I don't decrease that. I would leave that depending on what iRacing has it at, and then adjust the gear ratio. All right. And that's pretty much it. Couple of simple little adjustments improve the way the car feels. And not only does it feel better, but it was faster, just tenth of a second per lap on average. And you start looking at that over the course of an 8 lap, 10 lap, 30 lap race, right? And it really starts to add up. So I hope this helps. For those of you out there who want to do open setup races but are kind of wary of adjusting, the setups yourselves, and also for those of you who don't want to go out and buy setups, I completely understand that. And I'm hoping that these videos are going to get more people out there racing and get more people making adjustments and running open setup races and feeling confident in what they're doing, not going out there thinking that they have to have some paid setup to compete, because you don't. You absolutely do not have to have that. And like I said, anybody who tells you you do is lying to you. Even these simple adjustments can make a huge difference. But remember, it's how well you drive. These will only help you so much. You got to get out there and drive. All right. So that's going to do it. Now, like I said, this is part 1 of multiple parts. The next video, I'm going to be covering, we're going to be actually building a setup right from the ground up, but I'm going to really be diving deep into what these adjustments do. I'm going to be showing you how these shocks affect the cars, how the bars affect the cars when turning weight into the car, how it affects the car, all of those different things. I'm going to actually show you it in the Motec telemetry. Okay, show you the difference with the loads and how things affect traction and all those different types of things. So it's going to be a really in-depth, deep dive into it. All right, I wanted to get this one out there first. That way people have kind of a starting point and an understanding of making an adjustment and being able to feel what the car does. All right, so keep an eye out for that, because it will be going up here in the next day or two. All right, it'll be very, very quick. My plan, I'm recording all of these back to back to back. I'm going to be editing them all back to back to back, hopefully, and then posting them, and they should be coming out. Boom, 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 boom. All right, so keep an eye out for that. So if you are not subscribed, please subscribe to the channel. If you like this, if it helps you, hit that like button also. I really appreciate the support. We are over 10K. I want to actually double that this year. I want to get to 20K at the end of the year. I know that one of the reasons we have seen slower growth in our subs is because of me not putting up as much content. This last year was so busy with the glass business, and so I've got a schedule that I'm kind of working on to hopefully improve that. So hopefully we'll see that, but that's the goal. I want to get up to 20,000 at the end of this year, and we got a lot of really cool stuff planned, and I appreciate all of you guys for hopping on and joining us in the ride. So that'll do it. Thank you very much as always, and until next time, I want to wish you good luck, good racing. Take care.